And then the second one, because this occurs second, the second argument will occur and be placed right there. So now we have our template, and that's really what a class file is. So now that we're done setting up our templates, I'm just going to save these. I'm going to go to other sources and go to main.m, and this, if you remember, is basically the driving method of the application itself. So before I return 0, what I'm going to do is play around with this fraction object that I've made. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new fraction object, so a new instance of the fraction. So I'm going to name this, or I'm going to say fraction, and the asterisk is what's called a pointer, and means that it's just a pointer to a space in memory, and it doesn't actually contain the object itself. You don't really have to worry about that, but I'm going to name it f. So just called it f equals, and then I'm going to set up this fraction. So I'm going to say fraction class allocate a fraction object, allocate memory space for a new fraction object. Then what I'm going to do is encased in another set of brackets, I'm going to say init and a semicolon. So if you just look at this for a second, this is the object and the method that it's calling. Now this is kind of like what I was talking about with the plus methods. We inherited it from the base object class, so it's a general fraction object allocating memory to it, and then this whole section right here, that fraction object that has allocated memory, initialize it. And these brackets and that syntax is how we call methods. So next, what we're going to do is use some of the methods that we did. So like I said, open close brackets and a semicolon, that's the standard for calling methods, and inside the brackets f, our fraction object, set numerator, and you see the autocomplete, enter, and it wants an integer n, so I'm going to set this first one equal to 3, and this second one I'm going to say set denominator equal to 4. Then what I'm going to do is say f print. Lastly, we've got allocated memory here, and we don't want to be taking up that memory after we're done using it. So now that we've printed it out, we're done using it, we don't need it. So we're going to say f.release, and that is what's going to release this memory now that we're done using it. So I'm going to throw some comments in here. Release memory, print out fraction, and set up fractions components. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, before I run this, I'm going to go up to the run menu and click console. Okay, and so I have it here, and I'm just going to click build and run, save all. And I get this error, fraction undeclared. Now here's what you may have missed. A lot of people forget this, but what I need to do is tell it that I'm using the fraction classes. So I'm going to say @import quotations fraction.h, and I don't need a semicolon there. But this is really sort of what the fraction.h, the header file's purpose is that it tells other class files the declared methods that are available to fraction objects. So I'm going to say build and run again. It says ended normally. And if you go back to the debugger, build and run here is no different than there. It says the fraction is 3/4. So let's make another one, just for fun. I'm going to say fraction, pointer, my favorite fraction. Don't ask me why, I'm just being stupid. Fraction with allocated memory, initialize that fraction object. And then I'm going to say my favorite fraction, set numerator equal to 5. My favorite fraction, set denominator to 7. And let's do my fave print. Don't forget to release its memory. My fave release. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the debugger, build and run, save all. Okay. So now here's my result. The fraction is 3/4. The fraction is 5/7. Now we have a little bit of a problem because we don't have any space here. It's just one continuous line. And so let's fix that, why don't we? We're going to use that same printf command, and we're going to give it a string of \n. And this is the first escape character that I've talked about. That's what this is called. \n, well, second really, is recognized the same way that %i is. It's recognized as a specific command. It's not just text. And what it means is put a new line right there. So it'll print out, excuse me. Let me put it between the print statements, not the release statements. So it'll print out f, carriage return, print out my favorite fraction. Build and run, save all. And in the debugger, the fraction is 3/4. Carriage return right here. The fraction is 5/7. So there's your quick look at a very basic application dealing with a fraction, creating some objects in Xcode. So hope you learned a lot, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. All right.